They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Hello out there, thanks for joining us on Political Platform. Thank you so much. 30 minutes we'll be taking a trip around and the political terrain, providing you with the updates on current political developments in Nigeria. And the debate is now gone to the officials. The Senate President has made it very clear to the military authorities that the law must be obeyed in the declaration of any group as a terrorist organization. And talking about the IPOB and the debate that is on, we want to say that a lot of commendations should go to Nigerians, many Nigerians who are working assiduously for peace across the northern Nigeria in particular and in the southeast, where the tension was very high, and in some areas still very high. A lot of effort is still required to calm down frayed nerves, control the young persons, people who have not seen war before, who don't understand the meaning of war, who are just fanning the embers of disunity. Now, we also want to say a lot of caution need to be taken in sharing those videos that are popping up on your phones. One particular one running around in the north happened over 6-7 months ago, and those who put it there say it just happened somewhere. Somebody was lynched. Must be this, must be that. And we want to say that we need a lot of restraint, a lot of caution. We cannot but be in peace. And the number of people who have died in the last couple of weeks or days as a result of this, whether the military operation or individuals taking the laws into their hand, must be regrettable, and we must not allow it to go on. And that is our own message, that all of us must exercise restraint and be on the lookout, be our brothers' keepers, just like what we saw in Kano and Kaduna. And we want our Nigerians to tell each other that we want peace and not war. If all those videos get to your phone, delete them. Those who send them to you, call them that they are fanning the they want us to go to the wrong road. If anybody sends you a video of anybody suggesting to you that they are killing this person, they are killing the other person, delete and caution those people. That's the only way to go around. We cannot continue to inflame passion. Okiri Agbonsurem is my name. We'll be talking about some of the reactions to yesterday's interview we had. We have some of them on our mailbox this morning. Thank God we were able to get to our mails this morning. And we'll also be talking about some of the sundry political developments that we have updates for you on. And we have the main one, the pronouncement by the Senate President as against what actions, the actions that were taken by the military authorities in declaring IPOB a terrorist organization. We'll provide you the background to IPOB. Was he ever registered? And what do you do if you want to declare a group a terrorist organization? Do you just sit in an armchair and make a pronouncement or issue press release or address the press? Is there something you have to do legally? Were they done? We'll be trading on all of them. And my colleagues are here. Ijoma Osamo. Ijoma, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Okiri. I think I would also like to warn Nigerians, even if you see such videos that can trigger anger, annoyance from any quarter. If you see it on Facebook, all you need to do is just report the video, and it will they will make sure they blank it out. So because I don't think we need such kind of messages this time. We need messages that can touch the heart. We need messages that preaches peace. We need messages that preaches oneness. So I would also like to use this opportunity to talk to the political class, including political parties, their statements, what they say can as well cause violence. And if you know you have crowd of people that are sympathetic to you, you should be careful what you tell Nigerians at this particular time.
I make sure that is also on the platform this morning. I make sure
Thank you, Hiria. There's a glowing trend in Nigeria that makes me uncomfortable day by day, and it appears to be increasing, and of course is driven by frustration from achieving the desired results and positive fruits when you put in efforts. I recall when this administration came into office, it launched a very stringent and very strong anti-corruption campaign. At some point, it appeared the due process was not followed. Men of reason will say, follow due process. People will shut you down. The street mob mentality, jail them, do this, do media trial, do everything, yam eaters. Of course, when it was a time of invasion of judges' residence, men of reason will say, let's follow due process. They will say, when they were selling, did they follow due process? Do this, do that. And this time around, when you talk of a terrorist organization, people say nothing wrong with that, but follow due process. People will shut you down. Must you need due process? Do this, do that. We must refrain from being guided by street mob action. We are a body and a state guided by laws. We all agree to be our grand norm and, of course, to be our guiding light. We must always, at every point, stay with the law. If you're in power today, you may enjoy the street mob mentality, but remember that power is transient. Tomorrow it could be the victim who want to get even with you, but where the rule of law applies, you're protected by the law and chances of being victimized would be reduced. So let's reason like humans and let's work towards entrenching the rule of law in Nigeria.
And how many senior advocates were sworn in yesterday? In fact, the was a colorful ceremony yesterday with the vice president, a senior advocate of Nigeria himself, in attendance. We have a rule, a culture of elevating the very, very best amongst the lawyers to that level. And one of our friends, one of very, very close to us, one person who believes in human rights crusade, a young man who has worked very hard was among them, Festus Keyamo. I want to congratulate him. Keyamo is a senior advocate of Nigeria. When I called him this morning, he's already in court. I said, you don't want to celebrate it? Well, congratulations to Festus Keyamo and the other senior advocates of Nigeria, the new elevations that were made by the hierarchy, the top hierarchy of the judiciary yesterday. Let's go to our main box, political platform at yahoo.com.
Thank you, Okiria. Welcome to the mail segment. I am Ife Nwahuobi.
And I'm Amaka Okoro. Welcome.
Let's begin with reactions on IPOB and State of the Nation. And this is coming from Collins Eze, who writes from Kubwa in Abuja. He says, "Dear crew, permit me to use this medium to salute our northern brothers for this show of brotherliness and unity displayed during and after the fracas between the IPOB and the Nigerian military. Nobody knows what would have become of us if the crisis had spilled over to other parts of the country. This has obviously shown that irrespective of ethnic and religious differences, unity, love and peace is still achievable in Nigeria. The federal government should borrow a leaf from this noble act by making sure that all means of dialogue are exhausted before using force whenever civil issues arises. For where there is peace, there is progress. God bless Nigeria."
And on the former Minister of Aviation's interview on the platform yesterday, Marufu Ajenofuja from Kubwa in Abuja says, "Your interview session with the former Minister of Aviation, Osita Chidioka, on the trending crisis between the federal government and the IPOB was a right step in the right direction. Many Nigerians were proud of the position and submissions of the former minister, especially on his recommendation of political solution blended with emotional intelligence to curb the lingering crisis. As the situation is still pregnant with a lot of uncertainties, an eye for an eye will certainly push the nation rapidly towards the edge of the slope. It is strongly recommended that both sides should exercise restraint and conduct their affairs with civility and decorum, in line with the rule of law, while Osita and other eminent Nigerians continue on stakeholders' engagement strategies for the restoration of peace. God bless Nigeria."
So in that light, Emmanuel Ocharifu from Maraba in Nasarawa State says, your interview with Chief Osita Chidoka on the platform yesterday was an eye-opener to say the least. Thanks to Ray Power for being a political instrument by which Nigerians and indeed other media houses x-ray political happenings to get the two sides of the coin. However, only government has the prerogative to declare any group as a terrorist group or otherwise, but it must balance the scale of justice to avoid creating wrong impression in an already heated political environment like ours, especially when a deaf ear is turned on Fulani herdsmen attack on innocent Nigerians. That's all we can accommodate on today's mail segment. Do keep it coming. The route hasn't changed. It's still political platform at yahoo.com.
Bust it.
They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Thank you so much for your mails. Keep them coming. Let's continue to share, particularly in sharing these wonderful thoughts on how to keep the peace might indeed be the way out of the problems. We are not pretending that there's no tension in the land. There's still tension in parts of Nigeria, but we are also commending the efforts of all Nigerians, wherever they are, the north, east, south, west, who are spending their time, their resources, their energy in working for peace and telling Nigerians that the way forward is peace. But we must tell the government that this recurring decimal of the silence of the graveyard, we come for peace and we are preaching for peace, preaching peace all over the place. Then one little thing throws off the crisis, everybody is running all over again. This could calm down, will go down. In another 6 months, another 1 year, something triggers the thing up. And why is it that it is impossible for us to find a lasting solution? Is there nobody really thinking? Maybe we have suggested it that we should begin to look at a permanent solution to the problem. Are we so incompetent as a people not to know how to sit down and find a solution to the problem? I know that some of these problems will keep coming for as long as we are a people and the society is evolving. But it's shameful for us to go through the same path every time. The same old path, we pass through it, we come back, pass through it again. If it is not the militants in Niger Delta, it is Boko Haram we are chasing, or it is IPOB, and we don't know what other people are planning. We just sit down there and it goes to the fundamentals of Nigeria as a nation. Those things that must make all of us agree to be one. Once we have all our hands on the deck and we agree, and the cry for marginalization and a lot of other complaints that are primordial, and we begin to look at ourselves as more of the nationalities than as a Nigeria, the Nigerian identity that must be created. That is the way to go. We must not pretend that the issues will just come, we bury them, and they will come back if we do not face the problem.
And when they come back in a more ugly, complex form. So if you had tackled it when it came on in a simple form, it would have been better for us. You can't wish away your problems. The best way to deal with problems is to confront it. And as long as you are alive, as long as you're in a dynamic world, we always encounter problems, social vices, social conflicts, social problems. They will continue to come. What matters is, how do you resolve yours? Just like every marriage, it's sweet, but whenever you have communication gap, that's the best avenue to invite trouble into any relationship, not just a marriage relationship. So we must keep talking. I recall what happened after the 2014 National Conference. There were extremist positions taken by the different nationalities and interest groups going into that conference. Do you know the music changed midway into the conference? Much of the agreements that we arrived at were on consensus. Yes. People now saw reasons after talking. You said this at the beginning, you said that as if there were tensions we were going to fight. But at the end of the day, they were hugging each other, embracing each other, which tells you that negotiations, a closing communication gap is the best way to resolving issues. Just we spoke with one of the organizers of the TIF Nation Summit last week. Part of the resolutions they took was that Nigeria should organize a national conference based on ethnic nationalities on equal representation. Whether you're an ethnic group of 50 million or you're an ethnic group of 1 million, you must come to the table with equal representation for us to talk. So many Nigerians will say, we have talked too much. There are so many of them. But I believe it's never too much to continue to talk. And it's left for the government to take on this momentum. We talk of restructuring Nigeria. Almost every stakeholder in Nigeria have said, yes, we want to restructure. The APC government party reluctantly has also keyed in, and in the last 2 days they've been holding public hearing, gathering opinion of Nigerians and supporters on the way forward. Government should be part of this train. They must not continue to pretend that all is well when all is not well. We must move in with that train of restructuring as a way of getting a permanent solution to our problems.
Mustafa, we are almost there. Like I said the other time, it might just be it might just come to us like, oh, is this where we say we are going? Because I remember that when we spoke with Usman Bugaje, he was the one that actually opened the lead to say, look, talks are going on. Now, the ethnic nationalities conference that is proposed from the TIF nation is one that is actually almost going, because almost all the nationalities have taken positions. So all they need to do now is to take those positions to the table. We just wait for the North that is they are meeting on the 12th. They are meeting on the 11th and 12th of October. If that date is kept, that is what we got to hear, that they will be meeting in Kaduna on the 11th and 12th. Before that meeting, a lot of meetings are going on. They have committees that are already meeting and they are taking the opinion. They will come take a position. When they take that position, then we just take all of it and aggregate them and say, this is what we want. Remove, agree here and there, and we are there.
Amechi, that hugs and banters you saw at the national conference was not because they have agreed on anything positively. A lot of them were out of job, they didn't have money, and people who were not supposed to be there were put there. Other parts of Nigeria were not even, represented very well. So I question the outcome, as I question the personality. But going beyond that to the crisis that had bedeviled Nigeria, I've been baffled by the level of hypocrisy of our fellow citizens in this country, especially as regards taking on the Nigerian army, asking whether the declaration of IPOB as a terrorist group is legal or otherwise. Is it not in this country that in the northeast, where the Nigerian army had been fighting Boko Haram for several years, had overstepped its bounds in terms of allegations of extrajudicial killing, human rights abuse, and then when international communities, including Amnesty International, released 3 different reports, the Nigerian people, especially those from outside the affected areas, and government officials, including the army, rejected all the three reports. When cries of human rights came out, people will continue to say there will be collateral damages. So the army had free hands to do what it did in the northeast until the global nations began to challenge it on the issues of the human rights. They scale down. What goes around comes around. The same problem now went to the southeast. Then people begin to question the army whether the declaration of IPOB as a terrorist organization has been done legally. Osita Chidoka was there. He was here yesterday. He did not fight the fact that, just like so many elites from the southeast, is a sympathizer of the IPOB. But I also agree that if you want to create Biafra or any other nation to be carved out from Nigeria, do it through the legal. Okay, now, all those that died, you don't need to die.
Mustafa Mohammed, I think you get some of them mixed up. Now, I remember that when the army and the military authorities were accused of extrajudicial killings in the fight against Boko Haram, most of the voices that were coming from professionals who are from the south. Organizations, human rights organizations, they were championed. They were those who are even Igbo men. I can mention names. Those who were in authority then, persons like Professor Chidi Odikalu almost blew up his head saying that what the military was doing, because he was the former chairman of the National Human Rights Commission. The commission report, everybody, including us on the platform here, we also said the military have rules of engagement internationally, that they even did it in the Northeast, and even if they were not challenged, does it justify a repeat of it in the South? And when you are talking of a declaration of anybody or a group as a terrorist organization, we have the Anti-Terrorist Act that spells out what should be done. We knew how Boko Haram was declared a terrorist organization. It was not somebody sitting down there and just declaring. They went through a court process. I remember that IPOB has also, when they were striking out some of the charges, that one of those that were struck out was the allegation by the federal government that it was an illegal organization. They said no, it was duly registered. It's a legally registered organization. They are doing the wrong thing. Nobody is saying that they are doing the appropriate thing. They are doing the wrong thing. And see, also Chidoka yesterday said what he expected is a revocation of the bail of Nnamdi Kanu, because he has flattered all the laws
and be punished.
So we must not allow emotions to. There's no question of you against us, not against South in any way. It is a matter of putting Nigeria on the table and doing what is appropriate.
Okay, our problem is that we are so engulfed in what I call the primordial sentiment, especially by our political class. We don't need to do that again. We need to go down and take a look at what is happening in Nigeria and try and practice sincerity at heart. Because if we want this country to remain as one, some discordant tunes that are coming from some quarters is not good. If we are preaching peace, it is not time for us to start blaming each other. It is time for us to put our problems on the table. That's why I agree with Amechi when he said, come together, let us put whatever problems from different regions and take a look at it. I like what the APC is doing, but I want to ask, I hope they are not taking it to the doorsteps of their party members, because that is what Nigeria is all about. When you see problems like this, you see people from APC sympathizing with the federal government because that's their party, but they are not saying the truth. Go to social media and see those that are calling for the head of this group are those that are sympathetic. No, we need to first of all think Nigeria first.
All right.
Whether you are APC, PDP, or whatever.
Adebayo Boduri is also here.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think there are two things that happened yesterday, and I think we should commend it. If you look at the interview with the chief of army staff, Lieutenant General Brutai, it was calm yesterday to push the matter to the doorstep of the
federal
executive arm of the government. Yeah. That whatever step they want to take, they should take. Which means he has it's a subtle admittance of the mistake they made in the declaration. Yes. And from information available yesterday too, the Office of the Attorney General has already drafted a presidential order. Whether it has been signed or now is what I don't know, since the president is not in the country. Yeah. There's already a prepared presidential order formally proscribing or declaring IPOB as an illegal body.
I hope it will flow with the anti-terrorism, the terrorism.
Yeah, I think that
because there's nobody, no one single individual in Nigeria, not even the president. Yeah, declare an organization. I think they have to follow the due process.
I think that's really what. I think that's what we. I don't know what we will watch out for in the few days ahead to see what is being done. And I like Amechi said, I think we will be running away from the face of the facts that we don't have a problem. The country is contending with a difficulty now, and the only way out is for sincere leaders to sit down and let us profile solutions. Unfortunately for us as a nation, we have very, very few statesmen. If it were to be before, when we have statesmen, this is their job. This is their job to galvanize the nation to a thorough discussion.
Pull us out from the
pull us out, force us to discuss. And I think through sincere discussion, it is not too late. We can get out of this problem.
I think Mustafa was too hard on members of the political conference of 2014. They are not jobless. The Lamido of Adamawa is not jobless. The Shehu of Boroni is not jobless. They are elder statesmen. And there are so many of them that gathered. And I say again, at the beginning I recall when the president inaugurated it, the level of distrust the extreme position adopted were so much. And I repeat again, all decisions arrived at were based on consensus. It tells you that by the time you begin to talk, you see tensions go down, you see anger simmer, you see extreme positions give way to compromises, and that is how we achieve nationhood, and that is how we achieve a new Nigeria of our dreams. And except the issue of resource control, every other thing, there was no major critical issues, there were no voting, and consensus is the way. We must continue to talk, and we must continue to emphasize dialogue, even if the conference is not good, even if it is a job for the boys, like has been described. What stops this government? You don't throw away the baby. The Sultan said, as long as you hate that conference, the Sultan of Sokoto said it last 2 weeks in Abuja, as long as you hate it or those that organize it, there are some things you cannot discard. Some things that are positive, that we must not discuss. So, and not just that conference, every other conference, get the good ones from there, and we move forward.
We started from appealing to Nigerians to embrace the peace, and I think it's also good for us to end, because it is not end without appeal. That those things we are sharing on the social media, on Facebook, I cannot imagine somebody who is actually having the love of Nigeria. Somebody who is mature, is a graduate, who sees a video and he circulates to everybody. I wouldn't know what we want to achieve, because I go to some walls on Facebook. I see some of the videos that are trending, and I ask, are we normal? Do we even know the meaning of war? Exactly. Do we even understand that some of these things that we are posting around can inflame passion, and some of them are actually outright falsehood?
Unverified.
Yes, unverified videos that were recorded in Sudan. They bring it here to say this is a Muslim burning Quran, in a Muslim burning the Bible, or a Christian burning the Quran. They twist everything around and get the people to get angry with themselves. We want to appeal sincerely to Nigerians to walk along the path of peace by avoiding some of these problems that indeed can raise the temperature of violence around Nigeria. Now let's wrap it up here, because our time is gone. When we come back in another 24 hours, we'll have more for you on Political Platform. My name is Okiri Agbonso. Busted.